Hi guys, so welcome to another video for our topic in engineering data analysis. So medyo tahimik yung EDA course natin, no. Masyadong tahimik kasi nga nag-post na ako ng mga material, okay? So kung hindi nyo binasa yan, bahala kayo sa buhay nyo. Lagot kayo sa exam. Nag-post na ako ng nag-post na ako ng topic hanggang dulo, okay? Pero mag-discuss pa rin ako sa video ng mga bahagya lang, no. So para naman may matutunan pa rin naman kayo. Kasi ang purpose naman talaga ng pag-aaral nyo is para may matutunan kayo, hindi para pumasa kayo. Okay? Okay, so kung titingnan natin yung yung mga topics natin. So, we're actually done with the week 1. So, ang weird lang kasi actually nag-send na ako ng video for week 2 and 3. So, meron ng topic dun about sample spaces and events. Okay? So, hindi ko lang sure kung anong ginawa nyo, kung pinanood nyo yun. Check kung ako pinanood nyo. Hmm. Sus, ano ba naman itong nakikita ko sa video? Ano ba naman YouTube na yan? Nilandi pero di nilaro. Okay. Maya, panoorin ko yan. Huh. Alam ko nag-send ako ng topic sa inyo, no? Sample spaces. Oo, di ba? Nag-send ako. Nag-send ako sa inyo ng video eh. So, sample spaces and events. Yun nga lang, sobrang haba. Okay. So, nandyan na yan. So, diniscuss ko kung paano. Expect there will be a quiz about sample spaces and events. So, yeah. So, you might be wondering, no? So, ano ba ang purpose kung bakit natin inaaral yung sample spaces and events? So, bakit nga ba? Why? Okay. So, why do we study sample spaces and events? So, bakit nga ba? So, the answer for this question is, it's quite simple. You have to get the skill of understanding random or a group of data. For example, meron kasing, for example, meron 10 marbles. 10 marbles, okay? So that is given by this box, which is this space. Okay, so let's say there are 10 marbles in that one. Okay, so S, that's S. Okay, let's say that two marbles. So sabi dyan, two marbles are red, three marbles are black. Three marbles are black, while two are both red and black. Okay. So if there are 10 marbles and it says here that there are two red marbles, three black marbles, and two are both red and black. Okay. So it means to say that this is your red. Oh, wait, gawin ko lang red. So this is your red marble. And it says here that we also have, okay, it says here we have two red marbles and we have three black marbles. But in that 10 marbles, two are both red and black. Okay, so it means to say that there is common between two red and black. Right? So it means to say that we're going to understand this. So mag-overlap. So yun yung tawag natin na union. So there is something which is common to red and black. And how many is that? There are two. So it means to say in that particular box, you have one remaining red here, and you have two remaining black here. So so we have total of black marbles, right? So the remaining or the rest is the rest marbles which is doesn't have any color. Let's say ganitong green. There are 5. So the total in the sample is Sample space is 10 marbles. So, ganyan lang. So, what I mean to say is we are introducing sample spaces and events for you to understand how do we really understand our group, how to classify them. So, because there are times that you cannot do a particular study or research because it's difficult to differentiate. Okay, it is very difficult to differentiate between the two. So may mga ganito kasi. So you have to understand that one. So you have to really to understand how sample spaces and events work. So yun lang naman. So hindi yung tinuturo dahil gusto namin pahirapan kayo. Tinuturo namin yun kasi meron siyang application sa totoong buhay. Lalo na kung magiging engineer ka. Okay, so for today's video, we're going to have a topic on data summary and display, and also random sampling, frequency distribution, and time sequence plots. So this is very easy. Okay, so for this one, balik tayo sa ating lecture. Okay, so random sampling. Okay, so in this particular PDF, uh, if you really read this one, you will understand. You can explain sample mean, variance, sample deviation, and sample median, and sample range. So what are these things? And also, you can explain the concept of random sampling. So, what is random sampling? How is random sampling done? What is the use or what is the importance of using random sampling? And also, you can construct and explain visual displays like histogram and box plot. So, this may be particularly new to you because so here, histogram is a graphical display of numerical data in a form of upright bars with the area of each bar representing frequency. And also box plots. Okay, you will also know what are box plots. Okay, so last one is that after reading this PDF, you can explain the use of simple terms like time series plots and what do they really mean. How do we use time series plots and when do we use time series plots? Okay, so basahin natin to. Bilis net ko ah. Okay, so under this topic, yeah, the data summary and display, random sampling, stem leaf diagrams. Okay, so says here that, okay, huwag nyo napansinin yan. Okay, so sample variance, we already encounter here that the sample mean, download ko na lang nga to. Wait lang, zoom ko na lang, yeah. So says here that the sample mean is the average value of all observations in our data set. So, obvious naman so mean, di ba? Sample mean. Let's say that you have sample or population which is let's say 2, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11. Okay, and this is age, so the sample mean is equivalent to 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. Obvious naman, no? So it's actually the summation of the population, or not the population, but the sample. Di pala P yan. It's S. So let's say the sample is named X. Okay. So 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 9 plus 10 plus 11. So that's 44. So the total age is 44 divided by divided by how many? Which is N. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the N is 7, means to say that we have 7 samples. Okay. So the sample mean is 44 divided by 7. So that's 6.20 29, or that's basically 6. No, 6. So kasi wala namang age na no. So we usually use age na whole number as 6. So it means to say that in this sample, the average age is 6. So 6 years old on average. Okay? How about the okay. Yeah. Okay, so says here that usually this sample are these data are sample of observations that been selected from some larger population, which means to say that this 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is not is okay, is not the population itself. It's not the population. Because the population, okay, imagine nyo na lang, the population of the Philippines is 105 million. Okay? So, anong ibig sabihin nito? Ang ibig sabihin niyan ay, ikaw, bigla mong sinabi sa sarili mo, okay, pipili ako ng 7 tao out of that 105 million people. Okay? Tapos, i-average ko yung kanilang age para malaman kung ilan ba yung average age ng mga Pilipino. Ilan naman di ba? Ilan yung average age ng mga Pilipino. So, yun ang ibig lang sabihin dito. So, but it doesn't really mean that it reflects the whole population. But it can be. Okay? So, may mga issues kasi dito eh. For example, kapag pumili ba ako ng 7 tao sa buong Pilipinas, masasabi ko ba na yun ang perfect or yun ba yung magandang description ng population ng Pilipinas? The answer is no. Why? Because the sample is not enough. 7 is not enough. So in statistics you have to there are acceptable sampling or numbers. So hindi sapat ng 7. If you're going to ask a particular population like for example 105 million Filipinos at kumuha ka lang randomly ng 7 para kang tanga. Kasi paano pag yung ang nakita mo lang, okay, paano pag ang nakita mo lang ay mga bata tapos konting matanda. Paano naman kasi nung kumuha ka ng sample mo tirik na tirik yung araw or let's say gabi, di ba? So pag gabi, wala ka nakikita mga bata, tapos puro matatanda nakuha mo. Tapos kapag umaga naman, wala ka naman makikitang mga matatanda, usually kasi nasa loob ng bahay, yung mga bata nasa labas kasi nasa school. So hindi nagigets nyo ba yung point? So hindi ganoon. Hindi magandang gawin yung ganito. So using n equals to 7 to describe a population which is like this is not a good idea. Pero I hope na gets nyo yung point. So, may mga ganung considerations into statistics. Okay? So, the sample is 6. So, it means to say that, okay, nung nag-random sampling, nung random pick ako ng mga tao, nakita ko na ang average pala ng Pilipino ay 6. Yun pala. Hindi naman pala ganun. Okay? Kasi masyadong malaki ang 105 para sabihin mo na 6 years old ang average. Ibig sabihin, puro bata pala ang mga Pilipino, walang matatanda. O, diba? Gets nyo ba? So, yun yung ibig sabihin dito. Here, the population might consist of all connectors that will be okay, mga ano pala yan? Mga machine pala yan. Okay, hypothetical population does not exist. Yeah, of course. So, model of the population. So, when we say model, really, okay? So, pag sinabi natin model sa statistics, hindi yun yung model na tao. Hindi yung ganon. So, when we say model in statistics, it is actually the equation or the formula. It's actually the formula, the function. Okay? So when we say model, it is the mathematical formula. Mathematical formula in explaining the phenomena. Parang nag-rhyme, no? Because everything that is around us, can we say phenomena, a phenomena. So what are phenomena? For example, umulan, bigla nagkaroon ng rainbow. So that's a phenomena. Ito ba? Basta mga ganun. Define na natin what are phenomena. Definition of phenomena. So phenomena or a fact or situation that is observed to exist or happen, especially one whose cause or explanation is in question. So, yung example ko, for example kanina is yung umulan tapos biglang nagkaroon ng rainbow. So, let's say na hindi pa natin alam na nangyayari pala ang rainbow due to refraction of light. Mga ganun, mga prism, mga light diffraction and refraction. So, yun yung phenomena. So, because we don't really know what is the cause behind the rainbow. So we're going to use science to understand. We're going to use model in order for us to understand what really is happening. So, dapat ba? So, nangyayari ba ang rainbow within how many percentage of humidity? Okay? Humidity ba yan? Nakadepende ba yan sa humidity? Nakadepende ba yan sa amount of rain? Mga ganon. Nakadepende ba yan sa sikat ng araw? Nakadepende ba yan sa araw? Nakadepende ba yan sa mga factor like angle? Maraming ganon. Yung mga question na ganon. Nakadepende ba yan sa temperature? Okay? So, yung mga questions na we're going to, those are the questions that we need a data or a model to answer. So, we're going to collect all this data to create, okay, nag-gets nyo ba? We're going to gather all the possible data to create a model. And that model, we can use to answer the question of the phenomena. So, we need a model. Okay? So, that's actually the most challenging about data analysis. Is the model. But if we're going to spoil a bit, no, spoil ko na lang. Kasi tinilig naman sa spoilers. Model that we usually use in data analysis. The model that we usually use, okay, is quite simple, no? Basically, minsan madalas dalawa lang. We use two models. Regression and correlation. So we most of the time use two models in data analysis: regression and correlation. And we're going to dive into regression and correlation in the I think that is in the last part. Okay, paano ba to? Classroom. Mhm. Bagal lang net ko. Okay. Yeah, regression and correlation is here. So semi last next to the last topic, which is analysis of variance and experiments. Siguro mag-jump na lang tayo dito kasi actually ito lang naman din yung importante. Ito naman ay parang ano lang naman, mga importante lang kasi talaga dito is yung t-test or z-test and t-test. Yeah, yun lang naman. Yun lang importante dito actually. So, when do we use z-test and when do we use t-test? Yun lang naman mga dapat nyo maintindihan. So, what is the p-value? Mga ganun. So, we actually have 3 topics here na mas maganda intindihin. Okay, but we're not going to talk about this for now, for this video. So, balik tayo dito. Random sampling and data presentation. So, it says here that the sample mean X is a reasonable estimate of the population mean U. Okay, so sabi niya dito, is a reasonable estimate, but provided that you have big enough sample. Okay, so hindi pwedeng 7 lang ang pipiliin mo tapos 105. No? So, let's say, ask natin si Google, no? How many percentage is a good sample size to a population? So, good maximum sample size is usually 10% of the population. Oh, di ba? Nasagot na agad. So, please lang, gamitin yung Google, no? Tanong-tanong din naman kayo. Huwag di yung puro para na lang na para kayong mga syunga na tanong lang kayo ng tanong sa na hindi nyo na iniisip kung dapat ko bang itanong yung tanong, no? So, ibig sabihin pala, guys, kung kayo ay gagawa ng isang survey, kung ang population nyo is, let's say, 105 million. Wait, teka lang. 105 million ba, sir? Is yan pa talaga dapat yung tinatanong namin? The answer is no. Why? Because there are, let's say, 10%. 10% yan ay children. No? Tapos, let's say, 20% yan ay adults. Tapos, let's say, 5% yan ay newborn. Hindi para kang tanga kapag nagtanong ka ng 5% niya na newborn. Para sinabi mo na, sino ang president mo ngayong election? So, para kang tanga pag tinanong mo yung newborn. So, ganun. So, kailangan mo rin tingnan mo na yung demographics ng iyong population. So, hindi yun basta-basta halabasa sige tanong. Hindi halala sige gawa survey, tanong-tanong agad sa 105 million. So, I hope nagigets nyo yung point, di ba? So, So gagawa kayo ng survey, depende pa yan sa tanong. Para saan ba ang tanong? Ano ba yung tanong? For example, kung ang survey nyo is all about Lazada or shopping, okay? So, sino ba ang target population nyo? Are you talking about adults? Are you talking about children? Or are you talking about, ilan na ba to? 20, 10, 35, so 35, ano ta? 35, so so let's say na 5% yan ay uh, senior senior citizens. And then the remaining is 60%. Okay, 60% yan ay young adults. Okay? So if you're going to have a survey about Lazada or shopping, hindi nyo tatanungin yung mga newborn, obviously. Hindi nyo rin tatanungin yung mga children, obviously. Why? Because bumibili ba sila sa Lazada? Nagsha-shopping ba sila? So, titingnan nyo dyan is yung adults sa 20% at 60% na young adults. So, yun yung magiging mga respondents nyo. So, hindi kayo basta-basta tatanong. So, ibig sabihin yan, you will get 20% and 60%, that is total of 80%. So, 80% ng 105 million. No? 105 times 0.8. So, you are going to have a target of 84 million Filipinos. And it says here that 10% of that, no? It says here that you need to ask at least 10% of that, which is equivalent to, what the? So, 10% of 84 million is equivalent to 8.4 million. So, you need to ask 8.4. You need to make a survey on 8.4 Filipinos in order for you to get a good estimate about Lazada or shopping. So, ano man yung mga topic na yan, gusto nyo tanong dyan. So, that will be a very good one. So, kung napapansin nyo, no, so, kung napapansin nyo, bakit nga ba si YouTube lagi na lang nagpapadala ng survey? bakit si, bakit si YouTube, no, lagi nagpapadala sa atin ng survey? Bakit? Okay, so if you're going to ask yourself, okay, di ba, how many Filipino are active in YouTube, ba? Says here that as of 2017 pa nga to eh. Oh, di ba? 18.4 million subscribers. Hindi pala. Yeah, rapid tool ko pa yan. Sabi siya, more than 40 million adults in a PH watch YouTube every day. Oh my goodness. Mm-hmm. Oh, 'di ba? 60 million o 67 million nga eh dito. Sobra na nga yung estimate ko eh. Kasi ang estimate ko 84 million lang yung 'di ba? Sabihin, kino-consider ko pa dito yung mga adult. Okay? Parang ganun. Estimate lang naman yan, hindi eksakto. Sabi dito 67 million. So 67, if you're going to ask 67 million, okay, so ilan ba? So sabi diyan 10% daw dapat ng population mo yung dapat makukuha mo. No, times 0.10. So you have to ask at least 6.7 million. So kung 67 million yan ang nanonood ng YouTube, no? O sabi dito, 67 million nanonood ng YouTube, you need only 10% of that, which is equivalent to 6.7 million Pilipino. So 6.7 million Pilipino lang ang kailangan mong padalhan ng survey para magkaroon ka na ng magandang idea. So, gets nyo na kung bakit yumayaman ng YouTube. Bakit yumayaman ng YouTube? Kasi nga may pera sa data. So, the company, for example, company is Unilever or ano lang, San Miguel Beer, SMB. SMB, for example, San Miguel Beer, tatanungin, mapapasurvey siya kay YouTube, magbabayad siya ng pera, or peso na lang, peso. Tapos sabihin niya, can you make a survey kung ano yung mga gusto ng Pilipino? Kung gusto ba nila ay San Miguel Beer Light, gusto ba nila na Pilsen, gusto ba nila ng ano pa ba, Cerveza Negra, gusto ba nila na alin diyan ang gusto nila, o, di ba? Tapos lalabas yung poll, yun ang yun ang ibibigay ni YouTube sa atin yung ano, yung survey, ipapakain sa atin yung survey, tapos sasagutan natin kasi akala natin, okay lang yan, survey lang naman yan, libre naman yan, so wala naman tayong gagastusin pera diyan. But then again, if you're going to answer the survey, okay, kikita si YouTube dun. Kasi nga, yung nakukuha ang data ni YouTube, ibabalik nyo yun kay SMB, sabihin niya, gustong gusto ng mga tao ito. Tapos, ilang percent ng edad, ilang percent ng edad yung sumagot. Kasi nga, di ba naalala nyo yung YouTube account nyo, nakakonect na sa Google nyo, tapos meron kayong birthday dyan. Di ba? May birthday kayo dyan. So, pag sumasagot kayo sa survey nyo, nalalaman ng YouTube na, may mga sumasagot pala sa survey namin ng mga bata, ay mga 9 years old, tapos yun pala, umiinom pala sila. Parang mga ganun. So, nagigets nyo ba yung idea kung kung gaano ka-importante yung data analysis, kung gaano kalaki yung pera sa data, if you're going to ask me. Because again, if you're going to ask majority of the people right now in the industry, data is the new gold. Okay. Now, if you know how to gather data and to process data and to use that data and sell it, you will have money. And that's what YouTube is doing, and that's what Facebook is doing. That's what majority of the tech giants is doing today. Okay? Now, lumalayo na tayo sa topic. I hope nagigets nyo. I hope nagigets nyo yung pinag-uusapan natin. No? So, we have sample variance here and sample standard deviation. Okay, so in a very simple aspect or in a very simple explanation, kasi masyadong technical itong book eh. Kung i-explain ko siya in a simple term, okay, sample variance. Sample variance is actually how your data is varying. So let's say this is your observation, no, this is number of people, this is the observed age, no, and that sample variance is actually how the population is, how each person in that particular sample. Okay, so yung gaano nagkakaiba yung edad ng mga tao na yan sa loob ng isang for example kanina yung bigay kong 6 years old, di ba? So 6 years old yung age, pero the variance here is yung gaano nagkakaiba yung mga edad nila. So mapapansin nyo, no? So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So yung changes or yung agwat na mga yan, let's say 6, di ba, ang medium. Okay, magbura na lang ako. Okay. So if you're going to interpret this one, the average in the middle is 6. Okay? And if you're going to take note of the lowest one, that is actually 2. And if you're going to take into consideration the highest or the oldest, that is 11. Okay? Napapansin nyo ba? May napapansin ba kayo? For example, the difference between 6 and 2 is only 4. But the difference between 11 and 6 is 5. Diba? There is somewhat a difference between the two. So, what we're trying to say here is this. So, the maximum and the lowest point, if that is nearest to the average, it means to say that you have low variance. It means to say that your sample doesn't really deviate from the average. Doesn't really have a huge difference, so let's say. So it means to say that when your average is 6 and you have 20 and you have lowest is let's say 2, diba? So you have a huge gap here. It means to say that your sample has huge variance. So mataas yung variance. So what does it mean? So what does it mean when you say the sample has a huge variance? Number one implication of that, if you're going to ask me based on experience, is the implication of a huge variance. If you have a huge variance in your sample, okay, if you have huge variance, it means to say it means to say that your your parang it's a bit weird, no? It's a bit weird. You know why? Because if you are living in a community, no? If you are living in a community, let's say sa isang barangay, no? Tapos merong ano diyan, merong 1,000 na tao sa barangay na 'yan. Tapos ito yung napansin mo, no? Ito yung napansin mo na data nila. So the lowest is 2, the average is 6, and the 20. So ibig sabihin mas marami yung 20. So 20 minus 6, di ba? So, mas marami kang mas malaki agwat, oh. Mas malaki yung agwat sa mas matanda sa average. So 14. So it means to say that this population is yun, skewed. Yun, doon tayo pumapasok sa tinatawag na skewed. So skewed to the left, to the right, or skewed to the left. So when you say that this is the age, okay, zoom tayo ng konti. This is age now. And this is the of number of people, pax. And you found out that the average, this is 6 now, 6, and this is the maximum 20, this is minimum 2, no? And the, paano ba? And you have, okay, and you have more people here, okay? So there are more people who is, okay, ibig sabihin is, interpret natin okay. Means to say that there are more people who age is beyond 6. There are less people who are below 6, right? These are 6. So what does it mean? It means to say that the population or the community here, the community here ay hindi mahilig gumawa ng baby. Sa yung mga interpretation dyan. Oh, number one interpretation dyan is hindi mahilig gumawa ng baby yung mga tao dyan kasi mas marami yung matanda kaysa sa mga bata. Okay? Nasusundan nyo ba? Nasusundan nyo ba kung paano ini-interpret yan? So, 'di ba napaka powerful ng data if you're going to if you know how to make the graph and understand how to interpret the graph, you can really use it as a powerful tool to answer a particular question. What is the problem in this if if you're going to find out that what you found out that the population in this community has more elderly than the young adult, the young child, you're going to ask questions. Why? No? Bakit mas marami ang matanda kaysa sa bata? Oh, so yun yung mga tinatanong dyan na mahilig ba sila, di ba sila mahilig sa sex, mga ganun. Um, at bakit ba? So maraming tanong, masyado bang busy yung mga community na yan kung bakit hindi sila nakakapaggawa ng bata? Meron ba silang infertility? Yung mga babae, oh, tapos bigla nyo sinabi sa sarili nyo, teka lang, wait lang, Sir Ikal. Hindi pala namin tiningnan kung ilan yung population ng babae at lalaki. Yon, doon na tayo papasok. So, doon na tayo papasok sa sinasabi na iba na naman ang paradigm. So, yun yung natatanungin yung 1,000 population na yan, no? Kung ilan dyan ang male, ilan dyan ang female. Kasi, kung ang nangyari pala is mas marami yung male kasi sa female, eh di lang napaka-obvious talaga na bababa lang ang magiging mga edad ng mga bata kasi mas marami yung lalaki kaysa sa babae. So, 'di ba? Nakakatuwa lang isipin, 'di ba? So, parang mga ganun. So, ganun lang yung mga takbo ng kwento sa data analysis. Okay? So, mga ganyan. So, ang tawag ito is skew to the right. Okay? Now, kapag skew to the left naman, draw ko lang. kung skew to the left naman ang graph na yan, okay, say ganyan, this is your age, still the same age, this is 20, and this is 6, and this is 2, this is the number of people in a population, or yeah, in a particular population. Hindi na to sample hindi siya sample kasi you are treating the whole community as the sample, which is the population itself. So hindi na siya sample. So applicable na dyan yung mga formula ng population. And by the way, before I forget really, sorry, before I forget, iba ang formula ng sample variance at sample deviation kapag population at sample. Okay? Magkaibang formula. Hindi sila pareho. So, tatanungin nyo muna sarili nyo, anong formula ang gagamitin ko? Iyan ba ay population? Ang tinutukoy ba sa problem ay population? O ang tinutukoy ba sa problem or sample? So, titingnan nyo muna yung tinatawag na keywords. So, kapag sinabing sample, obviously, ang gagamitin yung formula, okay, yung formula, ang gagamitin nyo ay pang sample. So, sample. O, diba? Kapansin nyo, may n-1 sa ibaba kapag sample. O, diba? Check natin sa Google, sample variance and population variance formula. Kasi magkaiba. So, see? So, kapag population variance, walang -1. Kapag sample variance, merong -1. Then, magkaiba pati ang ginagamit. You say, sample variance is here, sigma. Sample variance is S. If it is sample, S. Okay? So, sample mean, population mean is mu. Population size N. So, maliit. So, magkaiba. Pero, ang pinakakaiba talaga dyan is yung N-1 kapag gumagamit kayo ng sample variance. So, tatandaan nyo. So, titingnan nyo muna kung ang pinag-uusapan natin is population or is it a sample. Then, saka nyo na pipiliin ang formula. Okay? So, hindi lang yan basta-basta sa ulo ng formula. Kailangan nyo rin intindihin kung ano yung paggagamitan nyo. So, going back here to the drawing board. So, meron tayong skewed to the left. Kasi to the left skewed siya. So, mas malaki yung left. So, ibig sabihin, dito, mas marami yung population natin na bata. 6 and below. Kaysa sa mga 20 and below. So, yun yung ibig sabihin yan. So, it means to say that mahilig gumawa ng baby yung mga mahilig gumawa ng baby itong community na to kasi mas marami yung bata. Siguro mga 3 anak, 2-4 ang anak. Dito pa isa-isa lang. Okay? So, yun yung tinutukoy ko. Now, ang tinutukoy ko kanina is skew to the right and now skew to the left. So, bakit ko ba sinasabi sa inyo to? Sinasabi ko sa inyo ito kasi most or books is telling us that everything should be in a uniform. Yeah. Okay. This is what we call uniform distribution. This is a uniform distribution. So it means to say that the average is accumulated here at the middle. Okay? So it means to say normal siya. Normal distribution of normal distribution siya. So normal. Okay? So na ngayon, tingnan natin kung ano yung tutukoy ko na normal distribution. So punta tayo sa Plinko, no? Then simulation. Punta tayo sa probability. Math. I think that is math. Yeah. Probability. Yeah, Plinko probability. Okay, play natin. Okay. So, lab. Okay. Now, if you're going to check this one, no? Teka lang. Ba't hindi ko na iti-tweet ito? Okay. So, if I'm going to... Okay. So, maliit lang. O, yan lang muna. So, if I'm going to drop balls, let's say we're going to stop at n is equals to 200, no? Yeah, sorry. So, papansin nyo, di ba, yung ating histogram, o yung ating graph dito, is is more like a bell shape. So, para siyang bell shape, papansin nyo. Because it means to say that the most of the time, or when they say, if you're going to assume it normally, if if nothing else is weird, no? Any observation should look like this. Any observation. Yun ang ibig sabihin yan. If you're going to deal with, if you're going to look at the chances which is 50-50 chances, which means to say is, it is normal and that you can only fail, you can only do a judgment which is yes or no. So, if you're going to look at it, ito dapat ang magiging observations mo in any case or in a normal situation, kung walang weird, okay, yan ang makikita nyo sa observation, hindi ganito, hindi skewed to the right, hindi skewed to the left. Nangyayari lang ito, nangyayari lang yung mga yan kasi hindi normal ang nangyayari sa population nyo. Hindi normal. Ibig sabihin may mga nangyayari dyan na may nangyayari dyan na hindi normal. Kaya ganyan na nangyayari. Ganyan ang description. But if you're going to look at it uniformly, if you're going to look at it in a perspective that is everything is normal without any weirdness, ito yung ma-observe nyo. So, more on average. So, means to say that the average prevails. Average prevails. So, konti lang yung dito, konti lang yung mahihina, konti lang din yung malalakas, marami yung average. Yung mga sakto lang, ganun. Okay. So, ano pa ba? So, yung topic natin yung variance, no? So, that's variance. So, sa deviation naman is, parang ganun din naman ang explanation really, no? So, variance yan. So, but for standard deviation, hindi ko ma-explain eh. For example, okay, balik na tayo sa probability, no? Let's say na probability natin is skewed to the right, no? To the right. Tingnan natin, Then, stop tayo 200. Kahit di na tayo mag 200, kikita nyo naman, di ba? Skewed to the right, di ba? Skewed to the right. Meron talagang peak eh. May peak eh. Tapos skewed to the right siya. Tapos kapag ang probability natin ito to the left, so, ganun din naman ang mangyayari. Diba? So, ito yung tinutukoy ko dyan. So, there is a factor behind why it is tilting this way. So, it means that hindi balance. So, there's something unusual about the population or a sample. Kaya, ito yung na-observe natin. So, it's either skewed to the left or skewed to the right. So, yan lang naman. So, yun lang may importante. Hindi tayo dig deeper into formulas because we can always check Google for formulas. No? We can always use simulations. So, that's not the purpose. That's not my purpose. I want you to understand, ang purpose ko talaga in EDA is for you to get the idea use how to use engineering data analysis in applications, in real life situations and applications. Okay? Now, sample deviation. Balik tayo sa standard deviation. Sorry. Okay. Standard deviation versus variance. So, anong difference, no? Dito mo, formula ang inahanap. Okay, so variance versus standard deviation. So, standard deviation is in same units as variable, more readily interpreted. Standard deviation is measure of absolute deviation or absolute. So variance is a properties making it useful for certain statistical. So it means to say that when you say standard deviation, it is the generalized, no? It is generalized. How deviant. Okay. So punta tayo dito. So the standard deviation is a generalization of the all over. So, kanina, titingnan natin for example, balikan natin dito. So, kanina sa variance, tinitingnan natin kung gaano ka-different ito. No? So standard deviation is considering the whole. So how spread yon. Standard deviation is how spread the data. How spread the data. Gaano kalapad. Kasi dapat maliit lang ang difference. Yan lang dapat. So small deviation. So ibig sabihin maganda. Maganda yung sample mo. Okay? So mga ganun. Now, um, but there are times actually when we say that there are outliers. Kasi sabing outliers. So, ano ba sir, sinatawag natin outliers? So, bigyan ko example. So, meron tayong population, let's say sample, okay? Let's say 1, 3, 10, 100, then 20, 18, 15, and then we have 7, we have 5. No? Okay, so titingnan natin, no? The lowest one, the lowest is 1, okay? 1. Okay, compute natin ang average or the sample mean. Mean. Ano ba yung, ano ba yung ginagamit? MU? MU ba? X bar. Sorry. X bar. Mean. Okay. Sample mean. That's 1 plus 3 plus 10 plus 100 plus 20 plus 18 plus 15 plus 7 plus 5. So that's 179 divided by how many n? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 9. So 179 divided by 9. So that's basically 20, no? 20. So the average is 20. And then we found out that there is 100 here. Okay. Do you find that 100 is a bit weird? So, graph natin. Graph natin So, this is the age. This is the number of person. So, we have 1, let's say here. And we have 3 here. We have 10. We have then 100. Then we have 20, we have 18, we have 15, we have 7, we have 5. Ah. So, kung i-connect the dots ko yan, connect the dots. Shoot. Okay. Merong weird, di ba? Merong weird sa sample nyo. Ano yung weird na yan na tinutukoy ko? That is this 100. Diba? Diba weird yan? Yan tinatawag nating outlier. Yan tinatawag na outlier. Kasi, napakalayo niya sa napakalayo niya sa normal. Alam niyo yun, yung normal kasi ito. Oh, 'di ba yan ang normal? Tapos biglang merong 100 diyan. Yan yung outlier. So outliers is defined as, something which is very weird on your observation. So, bakit may mga outlier tayo? So, yun ang tanong. Why do we have outliers sometimes? Most of the time, nangyayari yung outlier due to measurements, issues, which is issues, or defects, okay, or errors, or typos, kasama dyan ang typos. So, sir, sorry po, typo pala yan, hindi pala yan 100, 10 lang pala yan. So, yun. So, that is how powerful graph is, no? Because so ngayon na, tinuturo ko na agad sa inyo, ganyan ka-importante ang graph. So, kapag meron kayong data, huwag kayong magre-rely sa ganyan kasi sasabihin ko na agad, pangit. Pangit agad. Bakit? Kasi hindi mo maiintindihan kung ano ibig sabihin ng mga number na yan. Because you will not really see the big picture. So, you will graph. You will make a graph. Tapos na graph nyo, ay, putik, meron palang kakaiba dyan. No? Meron palang 100. So, tatanungin mo na agad yung nag-gather ng data, yung nag-survey. Ano ba nangyari dyan? Bakit ganyan yan? Wait lang sir, check ko yung data. Check ko lang agad yung questionnaire sir kung ano, tama. Ay, sir, sorry sir ha. 10 pala yun, sir. Typo ako. Hindi pala 100. Oh, di ba? Sa pool. Oh, gets yun na. Oh, so, yun yung outlier. Okay, so dami-dami na natutunan ngayon, no? So, okay, so proceed tayo. Nagsasabi ni Sir Ikan. So the question here is, how does the sample variance measure variability? To see how the sample's variance measure dispersion of variability. So it means to say, tama yung kanina, yung sinabi ko sa inyo. So variance can be used to determine how changing your data is. So, the variance. Actually, may isang purpose ng variance eh. May isang use ng variance pagdating sa experiments. So for example, uh, okay. So, yeah. For example, meron kaming ginawang technique sa solar panels noon. Okay? Tapos, kinonect namin yun sa water pump. Tapos, yung water pump, okay. Yung water pump ay magpuproduce ng tubig, okay? Na merong particular na height. So, dapat ito yung tubig tutulo. Diba? Yung tubig dyan. Kasi may gripo dyan. Okay. So, ito yung sinabi namin. Kapag meron kaming gagawing special or improvement dito sa solar panel namin, kapag may gagawin kami improvement sa solar panel namin, kasi yun ang thesis ng mga bata eh. So sabi namin, may gagawin kaming technique para consistent ang supply ng tubig. Okay. Now, considering that this is solar panel, no? Wait lang. Alam naman natin, di ba, ang araw ay gumagalaw. Gumagalaw yan. So, sa umaga, dito siya sa umaga, tapos pagdating sa hapon, nandito siya. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, yung solar panel mo ganyan. Okay? So, pagdating sa umaga, so dapat kasi meron tayo tinatawag na, dapat kasi perpendicular yung araw sa solar panel. So, kapag hindi siya perpendicular, ay mababa, low power. Okay? Low power. So, ibig sabihin, sa umaga pa lang, low power na agad yung solar panel mo. Hindi na agad siya makakapag-produce ng tubig. So, sabi namin, gagawa kami ng technique para consistent yung supply ng tubig. So, ang ginawa namin is, syempre, nag-measure kami. So, mini-measure namin yung, so, ang isa lang sa mga technique na gagamitin mo dyan is, i-measure mo yung flow rate with respect to time. I-measure yung flow rate, kung ilan yung kung ilan yung volume, or let's say, liters per minute. Okay. Tapos, ipa-plot nyo yan. Yan. Diyan na pumapasok yung tinatawag nating, tayo dito. Yan na pumapasok yung tinatawag natin na times series plots. Okay? Time series plots na tayo. So, medyo malapit na tayo matapos. So, time series plots, no? So, yung plot namin siya, yun yung blue, umaga, let's say 5 a.m., 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, wait lang, dito 13, 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m. Ba? Nasusundan nyo? Tapos ito yung flow rate, which is in liters per minute. Okay? So, sabi dito, ang water pump na yan ay mayroon siyang flow rate. Flow rate, okay, fix yun. Flow rate ng 5, let's example lang naman, 5 liters per minute. So, ipa-plot na namin yung agad dito. So, ipa-plot na yun agad dito. Dapat fix siya sa 5. Okay. Dapat fix sa 5. And then, we will get our observation. So, i-gather namin yung data namin. So, let's say pink. No? Mini-measure na namin yan dito. Tapos sa 5, nalaman namin na ganyan. Bakit pink ito? Kaya natin kulay blue. No? Ganyan. Tapos ito yung mga data namin. May pababa. May mataas. Yan yung mga data points namin. So, marami. Okay. Tatanungin ko muna sarili ko. Sir Ikal, bakit ang daming data points, sir, pagdating sa 5, 6? Ba't ang daming data points, sir? Okay, may tayong tinatawag na sampling. Data sampling. Okay? Data sampling is gaano yung interval ng measurements. Okay? So, yung interval ng measurements mo, are you talking about every minute? Magme-measure ka? Every 5 minutes, magme-measure ka? Every 10 minutes, magme-measure ka? Or every 30 minutes, magme-measure ka? Now, the question is, saan dyan ang pipiliin nyo? Nakadepende po yan sa application at sa gusto nyong data na malaman. Now, as we all know, yung araw ay mabilis magbago yan. Bakit? Kasi minsan may mga ulap, biglang takip ng ulap, biglang mababa yung power ng solar. Tapos biglang balik agad kasi biglang dumaan lang kasi yung yung ulap biglang nawala. Parang ganun. So, ibig sabihin, 1 minute, sasabihin nyo, sir, 1 minute na lang, pero hindi rin okay kasi masyado namang maikli. So, pwede 5 minutes. Kung ako tanongin nyo, pwede 5 minutes. Kung hindi nyo naman kaya mag-measure every 5 minutes, 15 minutes, last na tawad. So, every 15 minutes, may data kayo. Ibig sabihin, sa loob ng 5, ilan 15 yan? So, 4. So, meron kayong 4 na data agad sa loob ng 5. Ipa-plot nyo yan. O, di ba? So, yan yung makukuha nyo. So, ano man tinuturo ko dito? More data, means more chances of winning. Okay? Mas maraming data, mas maganda. Pero ibig sabihin, pero hindi kasi tayo perfect Hindi natin kayang kumuha ng 1 minute Unless gumamit tayo ng automatic, no, yung automation. Kayang mag-measure ng 1 minute para sa atin. Yung uupo na lang tayo, higa na lang tayo. Tapos hintayin lang natin matapos yung araw. Tapos meron ng data. Parang ganun, automation. Pero kung wala kayong automation kasi magmamano-mano kayo ng reading. Okay? So, example, tuloy na natin to. Tapos yan, yung nakuha yung plot. So, tapos ito yung average. So, ito dapat yung nakukuha nyo 5. So, kung gaano ka-spread yung data nyo, let's say, kung gaano ka-spread yan, okay, dyan nakadetermine yung tinatawag na consistency. Okay. So, i-measure nyo yan in terms of variance. Kayo bahala, pwedeng variance, pwede rin namang standard deviation. So, either way, pwedeng gamitin dyan. So, ibig sabihin dyan is, you are going to use variance and standard deviation measurements sa inyong samples para masabi nyo na consistent ang supply ng tubig. So, ibig sabihin, kapag very low ang yung yung variance or standard deviation, nanalo kayo. So, tama ang technique nyo. Effective siya. Okay. So, effective yung technique nyo. So, yun lang. Yun lang naman. Yun ang application ng variance and standard deviation. So, I hope na-gets nyo kung paano ginagamit. So, may mga uses yan. So, hindi yan basta-basta lang mga formula na nandiyan sa libro na turo lang sa inyo kung paano kung paano mag-solve, may mga problem. Hindi. May application yan sa totoong buhay. Dapat naiintindihan nyo. Kasi nga, magiging engineer kayo. Okay, so I hope that is okay for now. So, meron tayong random sampling. Hindi lang naman. Random sampling is, from the name itself, no? Random sampling. So, it's random. Dito kasi sa binigay ko sa inyo, data sampling is fixed. So, may interval talaga. However, random sampling is yung pwedeng 1 minute, pwedeng 5 minutes, pwedeng 15 minutes, pabago-bago kayo. Hindi kayo consistent, so may random. So, ang tanong, kailan nagiging useful lang randomized? Okay, bakit ang sulat ko? Kailan nagiging useful? The question is, kailan nagiging useful ang randomized sampling? Bakit sulat? nagiging useful ang randomized sampling kapag pupunta kayo sa tinatawag nating surveys. Yung hindi kayo, bakit natin ginagawa yung randomization pala? Okay, bakit tayo nag-random? Kasi gusto natin may iwasan yung tinatawag nating bias. Okay? At kapag meron kayong bias sa inyong data gathering, meron kayong errors. Kapag may errors kayo, hindi maganda yung inyong conclusion. Kasi bias yun. Okay, umikot lang yan dyan. So, sir, ano pa yung ibig sabihin ng bias? Okay, for example, gusto niyo malaman kung kung gusto niyo malaman kung ano, gusto niyo malaman kung sino ang gusto niyo maging president ng Pilipinas, no? Tapos, nagtanong ka lang sa Davao. Tapos nung ka lang nagtanong sa Davao, sabi mo, hindi, pupunta ako ng Davao, doon ako magtatanong. So, obviously naman, ang sasagot, maraming percentage ng taong sasagot na kung sino man yung president na candidate na galing Davao. Very obvious, di ba? Yun yung tinatawag na bias. So, may iwasan yung bias kapag nag-spread kayo sa buong Pilipinas. So, let's say 50 dito, 50 dito, 50 dito, 50 dito, 50 dito. So, ganun. So, hindi kayo pupunta na 70-50% dyan sa Davao, Mindanao, tapos 10% na sa Luzon, tapos 5% lang sa Visayas, tapos magtanong din tayo sa China. Ganun. So, napaka-bias nun. So, yun yung tinatawag na bias. So, we do randomized. So, pipili tayo randomly sa buong population dito. Pero magsiset tayo ng, ito yung mga dapat natin pipiliin na target. So, wala na tayong pakialam dyan kung matanda man yan or bata man yan or babae man yan, lalaki man yan. So, yun yung randomized. So, walang bias talaga at all. Tapos, pipili ka sa umaga, pipili ka sa tanghali, pipili ka sa gabi. Yun yung randomized. So, para maiwasan yung tinatawag na bias. Okay? So, I guess that's it for this video. No? Sana may mga natutunan kayo. 1 hour na, naku po. Bye-bye.